Now that the NFL draft is over, who has had the worst offseason so far? Hello, all you beautiful people. World's okayest lawyer here. Today I'm going to discuss the 2024 five worst NFL team offseason moves, including the draft, heading into 2024. Number one, the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is just real stuck with Deshaun Watson, and it looks more and more like 2020 is never going to happen. When Flacco, who is a legit Statue of Liberty, outdoes you in an RPO style offense, you know there are problems in the Browns' near term future, just begging for this contract to either expire or an excuse to void the contract presents itself. Enter Jameis Winston, who could legit take over if Deshaun Watson can't rewind the clock 4 years, but let's be honest, still not a great quarterback to push DW4. I also openly believe DW4 is never going to return to his prior levels, as the criminal and civil cases against him has pretty much completely changed his mindset, and deservedly so. He put himself, in this situation. Talking to criminal defense lawyers, folks are just never the same, even when they beat charges. There's a reason why he has a mindfulness coach. There's a reason why you see Deshaun Watson standing to the side, listening to earbuds. He is trying to get out of his own head. I bet a lot of Browns fans miss Baker Mayfield. Probably a whole lot. Who legit showed what he could do with actual support. The Browns re-signed Zadarius Smith, Shelby Harrison, and Maurice Hurst II to continue the continuity along that stout defensive line. And let's be honest, it's definitely one of the best in football. The linebacking core saw a transition to Devin Bush, who just has never really lived up to his first-round draft selection, and Jordan Hicks, who is a legit stud. The Browns bolstered, in quotation marks, their secondary with the signing of Tony Brown. Moving to the offense, by far the best move was trading for Jerry Jeudy. If DW4 can't make it work with Jeudy and Amari Cooper, then he ain't ever gonna make it. But let's also be honest, Jerry Jeudy really hasn't lived up to expectation either. If you play fantasy football, a lot of folks take him early because he just has that it. But it's that it that never gets put together. The Browns used the remainder of their signings for role players in Donta Foreman, who actually is not a bad running back. And that's in case Nick Chubb can't work his way back. And my God, I hope he does. I'm a Steelers fan, but I'm also a Nick Chubb fan. And then they also picked up Nyheim Hines, who's likely going to be a returner and potentially a third running back, Giovanni Ricci, and Hakeem Adeniji. Now to the draft. The Browns went straight to further bolstering their D-line with scooping Michael Hall Jr. in the second, guards Zach Zenter in the third, wide receiver Jamari Thrash in the fifth, linebacker Nathaniel Watson in the sixth, cornerback Miles Harden, and defensive tackle Jawan Briggs in the seventh. Legit only two, maybe three role players from this draft. So why is it so bad? All you have to do is see what the Houston Texans have done with the whole bag of picks they got from fleecing the Browns with the DW4 trade. Imagine had they just kept the picks and used those to place legit starters on their team instead of that guaranteed $230 million albatross of a contract that they'll have to admit sooner rather than later that it was just a bust of a decision. Number two, don't laugh too hard, Carolina Panthers. Sorry, Panther fans. But last I look, it's Bryson, not Stroud, under center for you. Your team is just going to keep trotting him out for at least one more season. They traded for a Steelers problem player in Deontay Johnson. Makes you wonder what the Steelers know to be willing to give up on a proven player. Signed Raheem Blackshear at running back. Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis are going to help keep Bryce standing at guard, along with offensive tackle Yosh Nijam. On the defensive side of the ball, they signed Jadeveon Clowney at outside linebacker on a decent value deal. He's not going to really give you sacks, but he can stop the run, and he can crash that side of the line. DJ Wonham and Caleb Vaughn chase him at inside linebacker. The rest of the signings just look like role players. As for the draft in the first round, they got a legit wide receiver in Xavier Leggett. See what I did there? Jonathan Brooks is immediately running back one, selected in the second. The remainder of the picks are likely to be death behind offseason signings and incumbent starters. So why so bad? All you have to do is see what the Bears have done with the picks and DJ Moore. The Bears could have done even better this year by trading back from 1-1 again this season for a similar package to support Fields, but Williams is a far better prospect than Bryce Young, who looks like a high school quarterback out there. I just think the Panthers are going to find that Young is just not going to be the guy by the end of this season. I mean, hell, I'm bigger than Bryce Young. I'm 5'11". I usually fluctuate between 196 and 206. And yeah, nobody's asking somebody like me, who actually has a pretty good arm, to go and be a damn NFL quarterback. Why? Because somebody like me, if I can move, is going to be moved to cornerback, running back, wide receiver. Why? Because you got to see over 6'6" dudes. He's 5'10" and maybe 185 pounds. Number 3, Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to keep this one real short. Atlanta's offseason started off real promising with the signing of Kirk Cousins. So why the hell did you clown Scoop Penix in the first? I'm a huge Penix fan, but let me tell you, if you have 2 good quarterbacks, then you have none. The fan base will have a real short leash if Cousins doesn't immediately start hot as he recovers from his Achilles injury. Then what? Penix tears it up and now you have $100 million guaranteed with Cousins? Jeez. Talk about not focusing on legit need to start the draft. Number 4, Tennessee Titans. Mason Rudolph is actually a great pickup at quarterback and showed what he could do with an opportunity last season. If Levis starts slow or gets hurt, Rudolph may end up QB1 for the Titans. Let's face it, Tony Pollard is no Derrick Henry, but no slouch either. Calvin Ridley will help to take pressure off of D-Hop. Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be a monster on the O-line. On defense, the Titans are hoping that Chidobe Awuzie can rewind the clock at cornerback, and the rest were just role players. As for the draft, in the first, the Titans went and got their offensive tackle 1. Tavondre Sweat is their new potentially defensive tackle 1 at the nose tackle position, if not a solid role player along the line. In the 4th, the Titans addressed the need at inside linebacker with Cedric Gray. The rest of the draft was role players, special teams, or practice squad players. So why such a bad offseason? After losing Henry, the Titans scooped Pollard, whose game is not all dissimilar to what they already had in Tyjae Spears. It's cool that you improved your offensive line and wide receiver core, but not having Henry in the backfield is going to allow the defense to cheat more towards the passing game. Pollard and Spears are not equal in backfield blocking to pick up the blitz, and I'm comparing him to Derrick Henry. The Titans should have taken advantage of the O-line by getting another bruiser to protect the rest of the offense, and they just didn't. Number 5, Minnesota Vikings. Man, losing Cousins is going to hurt. I'm not real high on J.J. McCarthy, and I think he got the Purdy bump because of his college reps. He also didn't really have to carry the offense, so it will be real interesting to see if McCarthy can even beat out Sam Darnold, who will be ahead of the curve with understanding a Shanahan-style offense, which I actually like the Darnold signing. Aaron Jones is finally going to give the Vikings a running game they haven't seen since 2022, provided he stays healthy. Jonathan Grenard is a good player, but replacing Hunter will be real interesting. The remainder of the signings look like depth more than plug and play. As for the draft, as stated, I think McCarthy is just not going to be the guy. In fact, I would have targeted Penix over him, as Penix can actually carry a team. Yes, I understand a lot of folks have given an A grade for McCarthy. I legit hope I'm wrong. I never want anybody to be a failed draft pick. Why would I want to shit on somebody's dreams? Dallas Turner is a surefire starter at outside linebacker, but damn, they gave up a lot of draft capital for him. Kyrie Jackson will be a role player at corner with potential starting capability going into 2025 in the 4th round. The remainder of the draft was for, practice players, squad, etc. So why so bad? This offense is going to necessarily be a run-first offense, which is going to make Justin Jefferson real upset. Vikings probably should have traded Jefferson and scooped another rookie in the 1st with that trade, maybe the 2nd, or even, a couple package picks, or a 2nd with, somebody who could actually plug right into, the lineup. If you look at the offense and defense, all the Vikings really did was get another year older. After finishing 7-10 last season, I think the Vikings would be stoked to pull that record off again this season, but the Bears, Packers, and Lions are going to beat up on the Vikings this season, and there's not going to be any sort of magic that you're going to see come out of nowhere like you did last year when you had people who have no business being starting quarterbacks, at least have, a couple fire games. But those 3 teams, the Bears, Packers, and Lions, that's potentially 6 losses just right there. Even if they split with the Bears and Packers, it's still 4 losses. But those teams all got a lot better this offseason, and the Vikings just didn't. And I really don't think the Vikings are going to win all those games. I think that is, as of today, that is 6 losses. Like what I had to say? Please be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and share me on whatever social media you saw this posted. I cannot thank you enough for listening to what my World Showcase opinions are. Lastly, it costs $0 to be kind. It's the best money that you'll ever spend. Until next time, beautiful people. Peace.